What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology. The Titans action spawning in the red color, playing as Hades. His name is Domantas. His opponent today in the blue color, playing as Zeus. His name is Eric. The map is Tundra, and we have a game number 7. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what Age of Mythology is all about. Eric has managed to find 3 victories against Domantas, and Domantas has managed to find 3 victories against Eric, as these players are finding it very, very difficult to differentiate themselves in terms of the skill level in this game, in this series. And we'll see exactly how it ends up coming in this one. Thus far, we've seen Eric go in with 2 main strategies here in this Greek mirror. Strategy number 1 has been an Athena idea, going for Hippocon, going for stable, and going for military academy with the hoplites to get some early pressure. And every single time, Domantas has gone for a 1 town center play. There was a slight variation in that last game on Gold Rush. I believe Eric found himself a really, really nice advantage in that game, having almost like conditioned Domantas into what strategy Eric was going for. He changed it up a little bit and went for a 5-second town center, forcing Domantas into a weird position. But Domantas managed to find a victory in that last game. So we'll see if Eric wants to kind of try the same thing here in game number 7, where he goes for a fake Athena rush into a 5-second town center, or if he's going to go for that Athena rush that he's been going for in like the first game, the second game. Those sort of ideas. I'll have to wait and see. Domantas, on the other hand here, he hasn't really changed his approach at all in this series, which to me is a little bit worrying. So the reason being is that the approach for a long series is to play the game. And every single game that happens, you've really got to think. You've really got to have the brain switched on in these moments in the long series, because especially when your opponent is playing the same god and you're playing the same god, you can really start going, okay, what did he do? What are the weaknesses to what he's doing? So Domantas here saying, all right, Eric has gone for an Athena rush with hoplite, with making a stable and military academy kind of blind every game, or he's rushed that town center up. So what does Domantas need to do in this game? He needs to be checking the town center or checking the forward base to see if there's any buildings coming up, and decide how he can punish a early military building coming up from Eric, or how he can punish a 5-second town center coming through. As we see, Hermes is a completely different kettle of fish here for Eric. He's only got 1 villager on favor at the moment, which, well, I know he's bringing a villager up to jump on, so just a little bit of a mistake there. Just 1 villager on the favor here for Eric, as the house coming in, Katoskopos making its way into the main base, checking around for things here in this map. And obviously here, if we take a look at Domantas' perspective, once he finds the temple, and that's what he should be searching for, that's his first port of call. So this is your checklist as Hades against Zeus. Hippocon, find the temple at about 4 minutes into the game. If there's 2 villagers or 3 villagers on the temple, you know that Hippocon are coming. You can prepare for that immediately. Means you can put out of your mind there's Athena coming. Second port of call. Find this position. Take a look at Domantas' perspective here. He knows it's here. Find this position. If you see Athena, send your scout there. If you see any buildings, now we can defend. We can immediately go for military buildings. And then after that, you don't see the military buildings there. Maybe they've been snuck, so check out the town centers and just check out if there's going to be a town center coming up. As we see the town center coming through for Domantas immediately here, we again see Eric favoring double centaur first. No immediate Sylvan Law, but Sylvan Law coming in just a little bit after. As the Ajax is in position to defend, the Chiron going to be coming out as well here. As the Katoskopos is on the way, Ajax is going to come and get a little shanky shank as the Katoskopos is going to be running away in fear. As Eric here, he has to make a decision. Do you send the centaur to the town center, or do you just attack the main base? And it looks like at this moment here, Domantas is in a very, very nice defensive position. As the Silver Law is at 70%, Eric's got to be a little bit careful as the Chiron spots these centaur, and we see an immediate bolt there. Nice play. Exactly what he needs to do. Silver Law going to be coming in, and another Chiron is going to be queued up here. But this is a perfect map here for Domantas. He's got the hunt in his main base. He's got the herdables in his main base. He's got a really nice wood line here that we probably could have done with potentially a little bit further of a house placement over here and the temple here as well. There's kind of a weakness here to some centaur raids onto this wood line, but he's got that decent wood line. So it's a really, really nice map to play against centaur. And Eric here, I feel like he's going to find this a little bit challenging to get value out of those centaurs. We do see the centaur coming through. Domantas not paying attention, does take a little bit of damage there onto that villager as it retreats back. Ajax is in hot pursuit to deal with that one. And there's really just not that many different places which Domantas really needs to defend here. And Domantas is going to find himself a significant villager advantage. Unfortunately, he's building some farms down onto that wood line there at this point. Personally, I think holding off of the farms, maybe sending the goats around and onto this town center if you really want to be building villages onto food out of this town center. Not a bad idea, but yeah, I don't particularly like, as we see the Minotaur getting spotted here. That's a little bit unfortunate here for Domantas. He's going to be losing that one fairly fast there as it's going to be coming back into the main base. Domantas wanting to harass that town center and slow that one down. But still, at this point, no villages have fallen. Ajax and Chiron going to come over here to push these units away. As we do see a little bit of a problem here for Domantas as he can't finish up on those caribou. Where was his granary early in the game? Here. I wonder why he didn't jump onto this hunt at the early game. This seems like the better hunt to jump onto than the... I guess it's kind of similar. He's got the walls up here, though. I don't know. Much of a muchness, I guess. As the Chiron comes in, first villager does end up getting taken down, but you pick one villager off and you lose nearly an entire centaur for it. So, honestly, completely fine there for Domantas. But Domantas at this point is struggling a little bit for food as, like I said, these farms, while they're great, they get your food going. I think if he was just on herdables here, he'd be in a better position. As the centaur now swinging around here, they're going to look for some villager kills onto these farmers or onto this wood location here as well. As the villagers here. Nice. Oh! Don't ask me how, because I don't know. But this villager here should be dead. For some reason, it's alive because the non-missing centaur missed. So we do see the units pushing through. Watchtowers is up. That's enough to push these units back. We do see the Odysseus now taking down the Minotaur over here as the Chiron coming over to push the centaur away. And, whoop. Chiron not paying attention there. Domantas probably almost could have got an attack there. Blanket ever so getting left there by Domantas as well. Probably could take the opportunity to grab that at the moment as we see some stables coming down. As Domantas here doesn't have himself hand axe, doesn't have himself pickaxe. Eric with a lot of wood in the bank. I'm not sure what that is exactly for. Considering he's got full map control, he should be on the hunt all over the map. I hate this. This should never happen. When you're going centaur as Zeus against Hades, you should never, especially on a map like Tundra, you should never be on herdables. One, you're eating the herdables at only 228 food. They could go up to 300 food. But more importantly, these villagers could be over here on these aurochs, on this caribou, on these aurochs, on this so much hunt, and your opponent has got no military units. Once your opponent has military units, yes, you can bring them back, but I imagine you're probably going to get the walls up before that all is sorted anyways. But at this point, it looks to me like Eric is almost considering going into farms here with 1,000 wood in the bank. Another option would be to just take the villagers off of wood for a little bit and slide them over onto this hunt here, if he so chooses. So So we do see an archery range coming up. Hand axe now coming through for Domantas. Villager differential is in favor of Domantas. So Domantas has found the advantages he needs in this matchup. He's put a stop to the raids. He's fully walled up. These villagers are in a bit of a weak position. They probably could move over onto this wood line here and be much better. But Domantas here is going to be continuing to chop that wood down. Does Eric know about that? He kind of knows there's villagers here. So I imagine he might look for a raid there fairly soon. As Eric also, he's got himself out the Hippocon as well. Spirited Charge coming through as well. This is an upgrade he really likes getting. And while it's not an awful upgrade by any stretch, it's actually decent. I think the better upgrade to normally get is your armory upgrades. And just take the villagers off favor if you're going to stop making centaur. Because you just get so much more resources from not getting the favor in. But Spirited Charge coming in nonetheless. And that's going to give him a big, big help to deal with those Toxotes. And allow him to utilize what looks to me is going to be mass Hippocon. He's got 3 stables out. As Eric now, he's searching around for something to kill. And there's really not a whole lot for him to attack. But there's really not that many units here for Domantas out. But he can't really fight underneath this town center as we see Sentinels getting used. And that's going to force Eric back for the time being. Domantas has been fairly consistent with this, holding onto the Sentinels thing quite consistently here. As we're now starting to see the farms coming up for Eric in his main base. One thing I'd love to see players starting to do is if they've got this, like, if they want to go for farms and you've got the excess resources, just put that one farm up first before you start everything else. Don't put anyone on it until you need to. Put that one farm up first, and then that allows you to do a really fast farm transition by spamming all the farms down. You can right-click on that one farm, and the villagers automatically go to all of their individual farms, making them immensely more efficient starting their farming journey. As we see Aphrodite and Dionysus coming through for Eric. Eric's idea here is the gold is all forward, and he wants to go for a bronze timing push to either get himself 4 to 2 town centers or get him a gold staff here. Is this going to work? The fact of the matter is Eric's already got himself 54 favor. He's got all the food on the map, so he should have more resources. He's going to have Thracian horses really, really early on, and really the only answer to Thracian horses Hippocon is Prodromus, which is going to be an answer that Domantas does have. So we'll have to wait and see if it's going to work out. The wall's coming up. I love this. Nice and early here. Wall's coming up to block the stuff. And the Centaur already over here going to clean up those Arctic wolves as well to stop the villagers from getting taken out. I like that play as well. As there's the Dionysus in. Eric's got the resources. There is a world where Go and Hera here is also going to be a really nice play for Eric if he wants to just delay the Thracian horses a little bit, knowing that the gold is expired. The villagers coming over here. The Centaur already on this position, going to immediately start shanking that one down. Villagers going to get taken out. The wall does not come up. The Centaur gets pulled back. The Hippocon getting pulled around. Eric needs to send villagers forward to wall this position off now, as there's no units over here, as both players are going to be sending their units onto the top location here. As we do see the Centaur get sniped down. The Hippocon with that speed, as I'm totally wrong here. I think that the Spirited Charge is going to pay for itself in spades by the army being able to get around here. Eric tries to get in and block the path of those villagers off here. Heavy cavalry, still no Thracian horses. Would have loved to see that come in if he's wanting to fight this right now, as he does get a couple of villager kills and he will be retreating away. We see a stable coming down onto this town center. Love that, as Thracian horses now coming in. The other option here is for Eric to stay Heroic Cage and spam military upgrades, getting himself every armory upgrade under the sun here. But it looks to me like he wants to go Mythic Age and hit a Lightning Storm timing here, as the Prodromus are coming in. And the answer to Prodromus here for Eric's got 2 Hoplites. He doesn't have any upgrades for him. But more importantly than Hoplites is just make your own Prodromus. As Hera's been clicked up, Thracian horses has been cancelled. Eric might want to grab that a little bit later here. He can grab the town center back here if he wants. It might be better to just get armory upgrades here, in all honesty, if he's going for this timing. This is very, very all in. But Hera is in. Domantas has not got the resources to go Mythic Age because he's been spending all his resources on farms, and he's behind on villager count now as well. Both players 130 population-ish here. There's Plow coming through. Still no Thracian horses here as Eric needs to decide. He's grabbing that Ford Town Center. Eric needs to decide exactly what he needs to do here. He's taken that fight. He doesn't need to take the fight. He's got plenty of time here. Obviously, he doesn't know what resources Domantas is on, but he doesn't need to take the fight. He's got to deal with Thracian horses counters that curse so nicely here. There's so much HP that's about to be... You probably kill off like 3 Hippocon with curse after all is said and done. There's also Bacchanalia coming in is going to also play around curse as well. So every moment that ticks by, that Aphrodite gets weaker and weaker. As Eric, he's trying to sneak around the back here to prevent the retreat path away here. As the army going after that archery range, still no curse getting dropped down. Thracian horses still getting closer and closer. As I mean, once he clicks Lightning Storm, you can't even click curse. So that's another way to deal with that. Let's look at the HP. Goes from 187 up to 225. As Eric now more than happy to take this fight. Still no curse getting dropped down. Wait, did he go curse? He totally did. As Hera... Wait, it's blocked. Because the villagers have started. The villagers have started. What are you doing? What are you doing? Why are the villagers there? Bronze getting dropped here. Kurt's going to get dropped as well. What is happening? 95%. 95%. This is the biggest throw that Eric could do at this point. As the fortified town center coming in. There's the lightning storm getting dropped down. And the army has been absolutely demolished for no reason here, ladies and gentlemen, for Eric. Eric here, if he clicked Lightning Storm on that position here, the army of Domantas would have been massacred, and Eric would have been completely fine here. 145 population he would have been at, and would have been able to completely win this. But the villager here getting stuck, and the Mythic Age not going through, and Domantas clicks Artemis. Domantas clicks Artemis here. What is this decision making? Artemis, there's no... Just go Hephaestus. Oh dear. All right. Now we've got a game. I thought the game was over because Domantas wouldn't have an answer. Oh, sorry, Eric wouldn't have an answer to the Domantas Hephaestus after the failed Lightning Storm attack. But with Domantas picking Artemis here, there is a chance for Eric to still win because there's no Colossus, there's no Plentyvault, there's no cheat to go to the Mythic Age, or to go to fully upgraded units. So it's going to be a close one here. As the Hippocon going to move back up onto this position. Prodromus Toxotes out for Domantas. Prodromus Hippocon out for Eric as he's going to attempt to utilize the open space here as Curse gets dropped. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4 pigs for Domantas here. As the army retreats back, Eric needs to start thinking about a different way forward here as the army of Domantas is looking very, very strong. But Eric has got the villager lead significantly here. The problem also for Eric is he hasn't thrown down a fortress just yet. But I guess against the Prodromus and the Toxotes and the fact he's gone Hippocon, it's probably not the best idea to go into Heliopolis just yet. He needs to get out Toxotes himself. As the Hippocon are going to be looking for some raids here. Fortress now up for Domantas. As the Earthquake gets dropped down onto this position. Takes down the buildings. Takes down the town center. Eric drops down to 2 town centers. Domantas has got every little bit of momentum now moving in to this next stage of the game. As ceasefire gets clicked, Eric manages to calm the tides as he gets his town center back up. But Domantas is 2 town centers. He's got fortified town centers. So this town center only gives Eric a 5 population advantage. And Domantas at this point, he's got himself his fortress up. He's got his Heliopolis popping out. What Domantas should do right now is get that Heliopolis out, delete a handful of units here, get the Heliopolis out and start putting pressure here. Some walls constructed here to start some Gastrophede action or even Petropolis action on this location to start sieging this town center down. And I don't think that Eric here is going to be able to hold this that well. But the problem for Domantas is he's so far behind on villager count for no good reason here. The Chimera is out though, so he can equalize on that position if he can. As Eric getting himself a third town center, or fourth town center, I should say, and that will give Eric a villager advantage. But Domantas should be able to get himself some armory upgrades to make up for it. So there's a timing that exists as the Chimera comes in. Huge amount of damage there. The Chimera special attack does hack damage, right? 28 hack damage. So strong. And it's like multiple different streams of damage that come through. As Domantas is trying to push in. He needs to get the siege out, though. So vitally important. Wall's now set up. He's got himself the trade. The market not started, but he's got himself the market over there. Wouldn't be a bad idea to start it, given he's at 53 villages and 2 town centers only. So starting the trade means he would pick his villager count up to 80. He doesn't need to necessarily go up to 80 villages if he just goes straight to 20 donkey caravans. As Domantas now has himself the Heliopolis. One problem for Eric here is he doesn't have himself a fortress here, so he can't just defend against it. And he doesn't have the Phaistos, so he doesn't have a good option against the Colossus, against the Heliopolis with the Colossus. As the Bellerophon coming out, that'll be a big help here as villagers popping out, but the Toxotes is going to be able to deal with that nicely. Bellerophon jumps in. Again, the idea here is you snare the Bellerophon and you target it down with the archers. But looks like Domantas is not quite aware of the perfect interaction to deal with the Bellerophon in these fights. As Bellerophon retreats back, waits on that jump special. It takes 15 seconds, I believe, for it to come back up, and then he can come in and deal that 100 hack damage to kill off the Heliopolis. And it looks like Eric is able to win this fight pretty handedly here at this position. As Domantas needs to pull back here. Eric here with like full bronze and not full bronze, full copper and Bacchanalia. Bacchanalia is effectively half a line of armory upgrades. 5% bonus HP. Half a line of armory upgrades in terms of mail and shields. But it's still very, very good. We do see Medusa being made here for Eric for some reason. I guess he's playing around Chimera coming through, is my guess. Domantas does have 86 favor in the bank, but no gold at the moment to produce those Chimera here. And the Bellerophon getting pushed back. And now the hard process for Eric actually ends up coming in. He's got... I honestly feel because he's on 4 town centers, unlike in the other games, I think he needs to start a trade route. Because generally speaking, Eric's been going for kind of timings without getting trade. And if he doesn't get the trade here on 4 town centers, he's not going to be able to get himself to population here. Domantas does not need to take this fast. He just needs to keep getting himself his own armory upgrades. And he should be in a decent position. Eric, on the other hand, here he is managing this nicely. Getting himself bronze weapons here. But he will be behind considerably here on tech. As the Heliopolis moves forward, those Medusas are doing a nice job sniping units down here. One hit, one kill is a very, very useful ability that comes from those Medusas. Domantas' Heliopolis are considerably weak here. He's still going after the town center. I just don't think he needs to go after that. Just utilize them to help tank against the army, keep taking good fights, keep getting yourself more and more resources, you get your upgrades, and eventually you'll outgrind the 4 town center player. We still haven't seen these villagers building that market or starting that just yet. Obviously, it will be a bit tough to start the town center as... Well, not the town center, the trade route is... You need quite a bit of food for that to actually start coming through. And with Eric spamming all of these hoplites into this mix here, they're not really doing a whole lot. They're just moving straight to their death. So part of me feels like just don't build the hoplites. Take the villagers off of food, put them over onto wood. Heliopolis at this point would be really, really good. That's the Achilles. Going to get sniped down over here. Eric pushes forward here with his Toxotes, and Domantas not able to hold on as Eric is getting closer and closer to that 180 population. Both players are at 80 villages now. They've both got plenty of economy, but looks like the army quality of Eric is just slightly better. And those Medusa here, I mean, it's a lot of population in Medusa, 5 populations, so you do want to have them fighting. And that Chiron comes in. Great micro there from Domantas, immediately pulling that back. Domantas has stopped the Heliopolis production. Please understand, Heliopolis in this fight would be a very difficult unit to deal with for both players because they don't have any answer to the Heliopolis, without having their own Heliopolis. Reason being is the hoplites just die before they get any significant amount of damage done. Looks like it doesn't matter here, as everyone's just spamming the human units. Another option here for Domantas would be, if you can actually pick off those Medusa, you can build some Chimera, but picking off those Medusa is the hard part, I guess. So Domantas is not holding that well, in all honesty. And Domantas' gold here is about to expire. I think if Eric can sneak around and push off this gold mine here, this game looks very, very scary for Domantas moving forward. But he needs to push this gold mine. There's enough line of sight here that he can move villagers forward. He can sneak around this side, put a hill fort down, or a fortress down over on that position there. At this moment, Eric doesn't really have the population to make that happen, but it is a possibility. Still no trade for either player at this point. Is a little bit... I mean, now that Eric is pretty much full population here, he definitely needs to start thinking about the trade route. There's just so many units here for Eric. And I guess I'm just surprised that Domantas hasn't been able to get out any armory upgrades, considering he hasn't have to build these units, but he's just not trading well here at all. That's the fortress coming up on this position here for Eric finally to get himself some siege to break through. I guess the main problem here for Domantas is just not having that plenty vault and not having those upgrades. It's a big, big problem for Domantas to deal with. And that earthquake just didn't end up doing anything because the ceasefire just blocked everything there. As Domantas finishes up on this gold mine, and now Eric is pushed back, and yet again, the mass army with no, like, it's like, the thing is, you kind of need to go up to 100 villages, 120 villages to support 180 population of production and fighting. Otherwise, you end up just losing the units and you end up just keep on spamming. Your opponent does end up getting their upgrades and they start winning the fights. This is why you see players like Magic and the top players always trying to get that trade going once they have the fourth town center, so they can keep their production going. That's irrigation now coming through for Eric. I mean, all in all, if we actually were to take a look at... I'm interested in this, to be honest. Units killed loss is relatively equal considering the Hades Shade shenanigans. So it's still... I mean, it's still relatively equal in terms of units lost. As the army still flowing through here, and Domantas needs to figure out how he can take these fights, snipe the units without losing all too many units. Eric is just like mass units completely here. Bronze shields now coming through for Domantas finally as a little bit. I mean, Eric is actually starting to get himself some units out. Now the Heliopolis are here. Things start changing considerably as the Hoplites leave the fight and they're going for a Hoplite raid. We don't see this all too often in the late game. But Eric is going to try and take out that town center. And Domantas here, he's not going to have any idea what's going on. The Heliopolis tanking the Toxotes fire here is gigantic because it allows the Toxotes to live here and allows this Hoplite raid to come through onto this town center. As the Hoplites just walk straight through here. Domantas hasn't spotted this just yet. We do see the Hoplites deciding to go after villager kills. I would like him to just kill the town center. But we'll see if Domantas can make any sort of a push through. He does have the Heliopolis queued up. Another fortress is coming through as the Hoplites take out a couple of villages here. But fortified town centers does have masons. But how are the upgrades looking here? He's got himself bronze weapons. So 11.2 damage on the Hoplites here for Eric. Is going to take out the sentinels before going after the town center to help those Hoplites stay alive. Domantas here has got a handful of buildings, but really not a whole lot. We'll see if he can hold on that position as the Toxotes here of Domantas are slowly starting to push through. I'm not sure if this decision from Eric has been the absolute best decision he can make. He's losing a lot of Hoplites here for the kill of a couple of sentinels as the Hoplites have to retreat back now. And Domantas has got himself the full Toxotes army. And he's now starting to make those Heliopolis trying to break through. I still think this position here is completely open for walls. Bam, bam. And a Gastrophede or two to start sniping down that town center as well. As Domantas starting to make the donkey caravans. Hoplites here going to get dealt with nicely. Domantas does have to rebuild his villages back up. But he started the donkey caravan. Same too as Eric started his own trade route here. Because the Medusa is still getting value here in this game. At some point, Chimera are going to get built, and they will do a lot of damage here to the Toxotes of Eric. But he does need to deal with the Medusa first, or at least go for some raids or do something. Is the gold mine just about to expire? There is a gold mine up here. Does Domantas know about it? Yes, he does. Does Eric know about it? No, he doesn't. Eric's got no idea there's a gold there, so Domantas can sneak that one. There's a Hoplite raid still coming through here. Domantas not really paying attention to this one. He's taking a lot of villager kills to this raid. A surprise, in all honesty, that he's getting that much value from that, considering like there's safe wood over here, there's wood over here. There's just so many safe resources on the map, and Eric's managed to find a lot of villager kills there, which is allowing him to get a significant advantage now in this game. This coinage comes through for Domantas. And also with that raid coming through, that allows the trade route to start being more effective. More trade come out for Eric than for Domantas, because Domantas has got a lot more food he needs to build to get those villages back up to pop. As the final Hoplite does end up getting sniped there by that Sentinel. Another kind of funny play you can do is you can garrison these Sentinels into the Heliopolis, and can you? Maybe that's only on EE. I remember I checked this out, and I think you can only do it on EE. I think so. It's the Heliopolis pushing back in, and they just do so much damage here to everything. Domantas is just going full Toxotes, and Toxotes don't deal with this at all. Look at the Hoplites that walk through, and they just immediately die. He got like 2 attacks off onto the Heliopolis, and that's it before falling. As the Toxotes pulling back, we see more Hades Shades coming out onto this position to push Domantas back. Now the Heliopolis pulling away, and we do see the army of Domantas starting to push forward here. sorry, Domantas push forward. Eric is still pushing forward. I think one thing that Eric could do, especially in this position, is just garrisoning these Heliopolis right now. Look at the Toxotes. Garrison your Toxotes in your own Heliopolis, and now your units don't die. And you just win the fight. Okay, these hoplites that Eric are building, I really don't rate the hoplites coming in. This is where all the resource loss is happening. Think about the difference between having, let's say, 8 villages on food, having 80 villages on wood and gold, or 72 villages on wood and gold, and just building Toxotes Heliopolis here, and the amount of unit losses that wouldn't come through versus how many losses that Eric is having in this fight. I just don't feel like it would. I just feel like this is just like a mistake that's happening in the late game here for the Greek mirror. Maybe I'm wrong, but this just is like, it's just so many losses for very, very little. And it plays against the strength of what these Heliopolis are designed for. There's Eric now searching down on the bottom side of the map again, looking for some more villager kills. There's not really anything over here again, though. And it looks like both players have now got a solid trade route set up. Eric has got himself 31 donkey caravans, and he's continuing to build them. This is exactly what you're supposed to do in this portion of the game. You're supposed to get yourself up to this many upgrades. You need to get the economic upgrades, or the economic income to support the extra population to get yourself those armory upgrades. As Domantas is full bronze, but he can't afford those iron upgrades just yet. So Hoplite's still searching around here for what they can find. Toxotes getting some good damage done yet again onto each of those melee units as they all just kind of fall immediately in the fight. Eric going to be moving back up onto this position. There is a real big weakness in Domantas' position here. Straight down here as the resources are starting to come up. Eric's now able to get himself iron shields and sort himself out here. We see Architects is the upgraded choice there for Domantas. An interesting decision. Rather than going for things like iron shields or burning pitch, he goes for Architects. And we do see the units of Eric now sneaking through in onto this position, trying to get a scouting information in. He will be able to pick off a couple of donkey caravans here as Domantas needs to react to deal with this. It's not the biggest deal for Domantas to just rebuild those donkey caravans. In fact, it looks like he does start the production up yet again. And Eric is still trying to grind Domantas down here. As Eric is getting himself guard towers, and now we can start going into the tower spam kind of portion of this game. Domantas with lots of resources. I feel like the scary part about these situations, and this is what a lot of the players, I guess, at the next level do, is with Hades when they're down town centers, and why life gets really, really tough for the 4 town center Zeus player is they start doing this. And this is really late from Domantas, but he's finally got some resources to make it happen. They start putting archery ranges up, and they start targeting down the other town center. And it can just be really, really tough to defend against everything coming through. Villagers sneak around, get through, put archery ranges all over the map. Imagine a villager sneaking through here. Archery ranges getting slammed down onto the back here to take out the back town center. Gashafidi do a lot of damage. Bronze mail coming through, flood control coming through. But Domantas here, he still needs to get himself burning pitch to make those Gashafidis do damage. And look at the income now for Eric. I think he needs to cut those donkey caravans. I I was happy with 80-40 up until full upgrades, and then you cut, get your upgrades, and then you can cut down your villager count a little bit. But this is a little bit too much as coinage is coming in. And Eric might be making his life just that little bit too hard with this many donkey caravans, but we'll have to wait and see. The siege tower getting cleaned up. Eric pushes forward, picking off a lot of hoplites here as well. Towers are up, and this is where things get scary for the Hades player. Towers on your front, no siege. The tower's getting so much damage here. Effectively, each one of these towers is worth around about. Let's take a look at the damage to Toxotes do. 9.7, 9.10. He's still 12.8 times 2. So they're basically worth 5 population, in my opinion, in terms of archers. So this helps out Eric a ton here as he's just spamming these buildings up. I'm interested in exactly which direction Eric is wanting to go. Obviously, Domantas is defending this way, but I feel like attacking down the bottom is the way to go, as we do see some walls coming up. The Petropolis coming in, and this is what we were talking about. If Domantas can get this in. The problem is that Eric can get himself out of Bellerophon very, very easily to defend against the Petropolis siege. You need to get towers up here as well to hold onto those positions. As we see another fortress coming out, more Heliopolis starting to come in as well. As the guard tower gets cleaned up. We'll see if Petropolis onto this town center, if Eric notices it or not. The walls are up. Eric doesn't have a Bellerophon queued up just yet. We do see a storehouse coming up. Need to put towers up. There is I'm not sure if this works, but I think you can wall a box around the Petropolis, I think, and that can protect you against the Bellerophon. I want to test that. If you put a perfect box around the Petropolis, I'm not sure the Bellerophon can jump in onto it. I might have to test that. Might be a nice counter to the Bellerophon. As the archery range here getting shanked down, but is defended nicely by the villagers. Villagers going to attempt to repair this one back up. Both players going up through Seekers of the Titans, but Eric has got an advantage here, and it's in monstrous rage. This is the one saving grace of the Hera in this matchup, is that bam. Wait, where is it? I'm not sure. Maybe it's in the temple. Yeah. Myth unit normal attack damage plus 25%. I don't know what normal attack damage means. Just myth unit attack damage? I don't know. It goes up 25%. Which means the Titan of Eric does more damage than the Titan of Domantas. But it is still Hades versus... it is still Greek War, so Petropolis beat... not Petropolis, Heliopolis beat everything there, no problems. As this town center is slowly going to be getting taken out. Domantas here now has to defend. He's got himself some towers up on this position. Eric not giving up on breaking through here. If he breaks through here, he does get onto the trade route. But Domantas here, he is smartly just Sim City here. This is the metropolis of the Hades lifestyle living. This is where you go to live. There's another Petropolis coming in, and it looks to me like Eric here is not going to be able to hold this town center. We do see the Titan Gate coming up on this position. Boiling oil, guard towers coming in. And Eric is... if he loses this town center and Domantas can get this one back in, it's becoming very, very tough here in this game to find a victory. There's the Titan Gate coming down as well for Domantas. Eric has got 57 donkey caravans, 47. How much gold do you need? The army does manage to break through, but there's plenty of towers here. The town center just about to fall. And Eric needs to delete like 37, I would say. 37. Eric needs to delete 37 donkey caravans at this point to find himself in a decent position. As we see walls coming up, Domantas slowly breaking out in exactly the fashion that Hades does break out. We see Iron Mail coming through for Eric. Hades at this point, Domantas, excuse me, I don't think he has full iron. He's still at full bronze. So he does have a little bit more catching up to do in order to make that work. Titan differential here, 40%, 25%. Domantas at 20. He's going to be fine. It's not enough of a difference there. Both the Titans will get out, but the extra damage here from the Eric Titan will end up becoming a problem. Eric throws up a fortress, trying to hold on to this position. Eric can buy food and wood here as well. If he's finding himself struggling on wood, he's got so much gold income. In fact, there's almost a world where basically once the donkey caravan gets up around about 80 gold, it's better than a quarry Greek villager from memory, 80 goldish. So you can actually end up just buying resources here until it ends up not being worth it. And then you can just send all your villagers forward to spam buildings everywhere. As an idea at this point, as Burning Pitch coming through for Eric. Both players' Titans going to be coming in. The Petropolis now have got themselves engineers. As Domantas here needs to grab this town center as soon as he possibly can. As the wall's coming up on this position, the fortress is going to be getting taken down, ladies and gentlemen, and this town center is going to be going the wayside of Domantas. If you can get this one up, he can start building the Heliopolis that he needs. He's got plenty of economy. Actually, he doesn't have as much as Eric, but he can make the Heliopolis to deal with the enemy Titan. That Titan is now taking up 20 population of Eric's army here. As the army does come through, it looks like there's no units over here at the moment for Domantas. A little bit of a mistake there. He's not able to get that town center up in time as the Titan walks forward. 88 hack damage. 88 crush damage. And that's huge compared to the 70 damage that Domantas is going to have. And 70 hack, 70 crush there. As the army of Domantas pushes through, going to try and take out those hoplites and everything else on this position with those Hades Shades and everything else here. Flood control coming in at 42 minutes into the game. As the Titan is starting to wander in here. Getting a little bit of damage done onto these units here first and foremost. Before retreating back. Tax Collector's actually coming in. Is that the right technology? Yes, it is. Okay. So you can trade a little bit better from the market there if he so chooses. As the villagers going to come back onto this town center. Eric at this point, way too over-economized for the late game here. He's got all the upgrades. He really can shoot down. Look at that. Just build a wonder and then just that. I think that has to be the option here for Eric. As the Titan's going to be fighting each other. Look at the damage differential. It's gigantic. This Titan will live with about 20% more HP. I guess. There are some guard towers here getting some good damage done. Heliopolis will start rolling in. Needs some heroes. We see the Achilles coming through. How much difference will this actually end up being? Especially because there's a little bit of tower help. A little bit of extra damage coming through from Domantas as well here. We've seen that the buildings have stopped pushing through into that corner of the map over there as well. As the Titan lives with 1400 HP remaining after that fight there. Another fortress coming up over here. And we have the recorded game ended. So this game did go out of sync. Luckily for you, I have already preset a thing. And we just need to kind of jump over here. Huge shout out to AOL Iron Maiden. So I might just pop this down the bottom here. AOL Iron Maiden for streaming this one live and catching the out of sync so we can continue to watch. Unfortunately, this means no sound, so you just have my voice here. As the Eric army Still going to keep trying to break through here. And Domantas looks like he's dealt with the Titan. And we see a wonder coming up now for Eric. Eric's got 1 billion resources in the bank, so he's going to be able to get this one up. But him going for a wonder now effectively says, guys, I don't know that I can win this game any other way, which means Domantas is going to be able to get this town center back very, very shortly. As Eric here, Titan just about to go down. The Domantas units are starting to flow all across the map. Eric's got so many resources. He can delete all of his villagers. Or he can just buy tons of wood and just literally spam a building on every single tile of the map if he wants to. As the Heliopolis rolling forward here in an attempt to break down these watchtowers on the middle. We see the Bellerophon coming back in. Eric's now got a little bit of population to play with. And I mean, first and foremost, Eric's plan here needs to be to stop this town center from going up and defend his top town center from going down. Those are the big, big weaknesses right now as Domantas is trying to break through. Domantas, on the other hand here, he's got no resources in the bank. That's the big problem. So what I would want Domantas to do here is say Domantas has got tons of resources in the bank. He can move forward with like 30 villages and put this town center up. And if he can do that, he can obviously have 160 pop and he's going to be able to push forward and try and stop that wonder. The other thing here is that wonder sneaking around archer ranges on the side. Hades, I feel like it's going to be a tough one here for Eric to hold this wonder here. And we'll see how it's all going to shape up, as I don't really know what else Eric can do. The town center is going the wayside of Domantas. Domantas is going to be breaking forward. There is a 10-minute timer on this wonder that is going to start at 46 minutes and 47 seconds. 46 seconds. So it's going to be, the game will be over in 10 minutes from now if Domantas can't stop that wonder. If Domantas stops that wonder, Domantas obviously wins this one at this point. Now, Eric here, again, he's got so many resources. This is one of those late game problems that comes from not playing a whole lot of late game. The whole idea of the late game is once you got your upgrades, you need population. So you get rid of your villages and you're good to go. But oftentimes we don't see, well, if players don't play enough late game, they don't really know exactly the perfect amount of resources to have. Is there a relic? There's just a relic sitting on the ground that was so amazing for both players. And he's got a wonder. There's the Heliopolis breaking through the stables and everything else here. We see villagers sneaking up to the top. I think we see villagers sneaking up to the top right of the corner of the map here from Domantas. To be honest, I'm pretty sure Eric can survive 10 minutes with 1,300 gold in the bank. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he can survive. Domantas gets the villagers in, but he's got no resources in the bank. That's the problem for Domantas. As the villagers do get spotted, and they're going to move over and start shanking these buildings down. I'm pretty sure Domantas went Aphrodite, so he will have that divine blood tech, most likely. So he's going to be able to spam these buildings up really, really fast. How do you get more resources? You just have to build some more dudes. We see some more walls coming up on the map here for Eric. Try and pump out everything he possibly can. There is a rule about not building wall segments, right? We have a wall segment rule. There's no rule about spamming walls. There's no rule about spamming buildings. Honestly, if you just want to... There is a way in which you can build a wonder, and if you've got the resources like Eric does here and you just buy the wood, you can surround the wonder with military buildings. And then you surround that with military buildings. And you just keep on doing so in a ring. That might actually be the best way to defend your wonder when all is said and done. I don't know. Maybe I'm being a bit silly. As Eric's still refusing to delete his donkey caravans here. He's starting to lose some grip in the center of the map. Domantas at 160 population now. The Gastrophetes are popping out all across the map. Domantas does have something set up at the top left of the map, so he probably can go for some side attacks over there, as well as that forward town center. That's a weakness as well. That forward third town center of Eric is still a weakness. And I think all of those towers that were set up there have been kind of cleaned up as well, which means, obviously, Domantas can start Gastrophety spamming onto that town center to take that one out. And 6 minutes, 25 seconds remaining. Can I put this at a higher quality? As we see a... looks like Maiden is a bit bored. He's checking out the chest of Zeus here. He's an attractive man. As Domantas is going to be slowly making the push forward to take out the wonder here. Is there any plan for Eric to do anything else here? So we see Shaft of the Plague coming through as well for Domantas here. That's going to boost his Toxotes advantage up even more. The thing is, this is something that I think Chrono JJ has popularized a little bit, at least in my mind. When a wonder gets built, every player's real rating drops 200 points. Every player. 10 minutes is actually a fairly long time in 1v1s. I think in team games, it's not enough time. I think every player added in a team game should increase the build the wonder timer by about 2 minutes for every player. So if you play, I think I've said this before, but if you play a 2v2, you should add an extra 4 minutes. If you play a 3v3, you should add an extra 8 minutes. If you play a 4v4, you should add an extra 12 minutes. But yeah, in a 1v1, 10 minutes is fine. It's plenty. There's plenty to take that wonder down. And we are seeing that the problem here is that Eric has got a really exposed third town center and a really exposed back town center. Either or would be completely fine here to take out and find an advantage on the front. But if they're just fighting 160 versus 160 pop in the center of the map, Domantas is not going to be able to break through here. As we've got 4 minutes ticking, as it looks like, if this is just the way this game is going to go and these guys are just going to sit here wailing away at each other, there's almost nothing that can happen. As the Gastrophety are going to move around, try and take out some buildings. Eric's getting the towers up around his wonder here. There's no sneaky movements that Domantas can do to get onto that wonder. 3 minutes and 53 seconds remaining here in this game. I think like literally everyone in the chat is just like, Eric can just delete all of his economy and he's completely fine here to last the last 3 minutes of this game. Whereas Domantas has got 2,000 food. At these points, again, this is even more of a thing. The Greek mirror is wood-based. It's Heliopolis. It's Gastrophety. It's Toxotes. You don't need to build food units. Domantas has got 0 wood in the bank, but he's got 2,500 food in the bank. What would be better? 30 donkey caravans on gold and 77 villages on wood? Or however many farms he's got. It's the small things, ladies and gentlemen. It's the small things. As the Gastrophetes taking out some towers on the front, we do see the Bellerophon coming back in to cause a little bit of problems. Yet again, more towers coming up here as well. As Domantas is still trying to break through on this position. He knows that this is probably the best way through, but so does Eric. Both players know this is the best way through. But there's got to be another way. We do see the red units trying to break their way through the right side here. The villagers trying to get in there, but the Bellerophon is in. The villagers getting the walls back up. A fortress coming up. As the Bellerophon does retreat back, we'll get taken out here. More towers coming up. 1 minute, 55 seconds, and we still haven't seen the Domantas units able to get through here. Another thing that Domantas could do here is just delete all the farmers. Delete all the villagers and get more population to break through here. And Domantas is now throwing a wonder down in the middle of the map, and this looks like a I've given up type situation here for Domantas. It can be a difficult pill to swallow, losing to a wonder in Game 7 of a very, very significant tournament. But when all is said and done, the victor here is going to be Eric, as Domantas simply just cannot get through onto this position. There is no way for him to get through here. There's too many units. I mean, there is a way for him to get through, and that is delete some villages. Delete the food villages. He doesn't need it. Get more population to break through. But alas, he is stuck in a grindy battle, and the Wanderer is 30 seconds remaining. And the YouTube comments go wild and say all manner of expletives about Wonder being stupid and all the other good things. But in my opinion, this is one of the better things for a Wonder, where Eric had a significant advantage and he just couldn't finish the game. So he decides to put the Wonder down, and he manages to find the victory, and he has claimed the crown of Challengers champion, joining ranks of Mariano, Ulysses, and now Eric. A very, very prestigious position to be in, and it does really bode well for Eric moving forward. I say a huge thank you to AOL Iron Maiden for streaming this one live. I say a huge thank you to Chrono JJ for co-casting and helping out. A huge thank you to all the streamers and everyone else involved with the tournament. A special mention needs to be given over to Blackadder at Blackadder's Plays for his monumental effort with his coverage of Age of Mythology events in general, but in particular, the Champions League has always been there when the streamers couldn't be there, and he's helped out being that last kind of person, always very humble. So a really big appreciation to him. Huge thank you as well to Yosoy Flacco. Without his support, there would have been no prize or no monetary prize for the Challengers League. So his donation definitely helping make this tournament a little bit more meaningful for these players and allowing the stuff to go so well. If you guys enjoyed it, please consider hitting the follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTube, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next game. Peace!